Hello and welcome to the Nutrition Digest podcast. We are your hosts and registered dietitians, Alicia Kugler, Tara Valenti, and Summer Merrick Williams, here to dish up the nutrition tea, dispel the myths, inspire, inform, and hopefully entertain. Today, we are keeping it casual and personal, chatting about what we actually do to stay consistent with our nutrition, our fitness, and our health goals. These are the daily, weekly, and monthly strategies that help us stay grounded, especially when life gets busy. We've all gone through our fair share of trial and error to figure out what works best for us, and it's still evolving. So while we're sharing what works in our routines, our biggest message today is don't be afraid to play around and find your own rhythm. Something not working right now doesn't mean that you're failing. It just means that it's time to pivot. You're allowed to try again.
So before we get started, I think that we need to hear a little bit about somebody special's big day over the weekend.
Yeah, Tara, you look so much wiser today.
So wise. So much wisdom. When I hear wiser, I feel like, I don't know, I envision something different than what I look like, but I'll take it as a compliment. Yeah, I turned 38 over the weekend.
What?
So,
Oh my gosh, never tell you were an age over 30.
So one of the things that I was going to do for birthday weekend was go on a long run because that's what I have to do every weekend. But I always like to do something physically challenging on my birthday. So kind of like worked out. But it was funny because I had like this really long run that I had to do, and it was going to be a trail run. And I remember driving in the car and being like, I feel honestly like more like 28 right now than 38. And then I went and I did the run, and it was really challenging. And I was like finishing up, and I was like, okay, I started my day feeling 28, and I am ending my day feeling like 78 years old.
Fair. I totally get it.
Just going to bed at 8 p.m. on your birthday being like, I am done for the day. I'm retired.
Oh, I definitely came home and like immediately took a nap. I was like, I'm going to need to recharge. But then I went out to dinner with some friends and had some good food. And,
where'd you go?
I was going to say, what kind of food? We need to know these details.
So it's this place called Bardo Supper Club and Lounge. It's in Oakland, and I had wanted to try it out, and it was good. Like the food, I got pasta. It was like very seasonal with a lot of seasonal veg and stuff in there, and some cocktails, and the cocktails definitely stood out. They were very delicious. I had one called the Kokomo. Don't ask me what's in it. I don't remember. But it was very tasty, and just spent some time with a couple of my good buddies, and that was nice. So
that's good. I think it's cool too. I find I do this too, where I'll be doing something during my day and realize, oh wait, I feel so much younger than I actually am. So last night, for example, I went to a friend's house to help her decorate for Halloween. And so she was like, well, you used to be an acrobat, so we're going to have you climb on the ladder, but we're going to decorate my tree. And it was so funny because I was like, ladder? Why do we need a ladder? I'm going to climb the tree. And so I did, and it was so much fun. I was like all the way up on top, and I was balancing and trying to get the thing she was handing me with my feet. And I felt so young. And then I was like, oh, girl, you're 46 years old. Maybe you shouldn't be climbing trees anymore.
Yeah,
I was like,
Summer.
Don't do your knee. Don't do your back.
Yeah, like I know that you have had some unfortunate things happen with the running stuff recently. Your body's telling you something.
Yeah, but see, I'm going back to my roots. So I'm not meant to run anymore. I think I have to hang up my running shoes, and I'm okay with that. It's sad. I passed along my bib to a friend for the 10K race, and I'm going to the doctor this week to have them look at my back. But what I do feel really confident is up in the air, off my feet, climbing on things. It feels much more natural to me than running.
So are you going to be doing more of that?
More acrobatic, more climbing, more hanging upside down?
I kind of want to. I'm really hoping that I can find a place to maybe hang my silks again and start climbing at one of the gyms that I coach at. They're going to start doing a pole class. And so I'm going to, on Friday, go ahead with the owner, and him and I are going to take the intro teaching class so we can maybe be the ones who teach it, or maybe I can fill in when he's away. So I may do that. And I would really like to get back into climbing. I think that would be super fun.
Tara, we should go outside of our elements and go to her pole class when she has it. Definitely.
Yes. Done.
I would actually love to do that. I've been wanting to try pole for like years, and for some reason I think I just keep looking at how expensive the classes are, and I'm like, I don't know. I'm also like kind of shy. So
me too. That's my biggest thing with pole is I did Chinese poles in Cirque du Soleil, and I did it for many years, and it's very different than like sexy pole and like dancey pole. And I don't know how I feel about, being flirty with a pole. I'm really self-conscious about stuff like that, but I'm going to go outside my element. I don't think it's wise for me to have a shot before I do it, but that would be helpful. But I'm going to really, really put myself out there and try and just go with it.
Well, maybe we'll put ourselves out there and try too. So this kind of ties into our topic a little bit, because one of the ways that I stay on track is by mixing it up. I tend to get bored of things, and I feel like I need like a specific goal, or I need a new thing to try, or I need to just like switch it up. And doing something new, like trying a pole class or trying something that I've never done before, or even just like doing a different route and going to a different place for my runs or my hikes or whatever, helps me feel like I'm shaking things up a little bit and like not getting stagnant in my fitness routine. Because like that's something that I feel like happens really often with people. And you've seen these people, the people at the gym that show up, they're consistent, but they do the same thing every single time they're there.
I have so many clients that like I first start working with them for programming or for personal training, and my God, having the conversation with them that they can't do the same program for 3 years in a row, that they need to change it up. And I'm changing their program every 6 weeks, and all of a sudden they're excited about the gym. And then they get used to the program, and then I change it again, and they're like, oh my God, Alicia, this is crazy. And I'm like, yeah, this is how it should be. This is how we're going to get your body to continually respond, and it's also going to keep you engaged, because then you get used to something, and then, hey, we're going to change it again.
Yeah, absolutely. I do that even with some of my nutrition clients, because I talk to them about their fitness routine a lot too. But when it comes to fitness, just even simply, if I'm not doing their programming, but simply having them do a different cardio machine, because again, your body adapts and becomes very efficient at what it's doing. And so I had one of my clients just this week try to do either the rower, and I said, just go down it for 5 minutes. Or it was the rower or the bike were his options. So he did 5 minutes on each, and then added his regular cardio that he did with it. And he wrote me an email all in caps saying, oh my gosh, that kicked my butt. And I can't believe how sore I am and how much more I got out of that workout by doing it for a shorter time, but just changing it. Mm-hmm. Or it could be even as simple as like, if you're used to walking on the treadmill, add some inclines in, change your speed, go on a hill, anything like that, just to change it up will help change your adaptation and also get you more results and keep it more fun.
I was going to say also, like we were talking about, like going to a class together, like one of the things that helps keep me on track is like getting friends involved and making it social. So whether you're like having an accountability partner with a friend or your significant other, and like for me, I love planning like social outings. I don't know if any of you guys put that in your notes but it's like, hey, we're going to go on like a hike together, or we're going to go try a class together. I know, like, especially with my partner, like I try to coordinate some workouts with him because it kind of keeps us both heading in the right direction. And I feel like that social element is so important. And even just kind of like almost telling people like, hey, I'm working towards this goal. This is what I'm working on with my food, or this is what I'm working on with my health, and being explicit with them. And they're more likely to help either keep you accountable or like ask about your journey. And I think that is so crucial, that it's like keeps you on track. I know earlier in the year, like I was trying to really dial up the running, and I had many friends that I was telling them, hey, I'm trying to get better at running. And they would ask me, they're like, Alicia, how's the running going? And because I would tell them, and like, it's nice to kind of have that kind of check-in.
Yeah, I actually did write that in my notes a little bit, but more about the nutrition point. Getting your friends involved as a positive, as opposed to, oh, I'm going out with my friends, so I know it's going to be a blowout, or I know it's going to be, we're going to eat so naughty, all my food's going to go off track. If you just simply share with your friends what your goals are, what you're working on, and you're going to cook dinner at home, there is no reason that you guys can't do a potluck and make something healthy together. Or you may find out that your friend is on a similar journey too, and you can try new foods that maybe are a little bit more nutrient dense or something like that. And so you're not alone. So sharing your goals with somebody, and I think working out with people and doing that is a great way to stay on track. It's something that I've always wanted to do more with people. I did try when I was in Sydney. I joined a meetup for a climbing group, and that was super fun. All strangers, and we went to a pub afterwards and got a beer, and I met such cool people in a really short amount of time, and I had way more fun than doing it by myself.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I put was just surrounding yourself with like-minded people. So over the years, and I think also just partially because of the profession that we're in, I've met so many people who they just made it a hobby, basically bettering themselves. Their favorite thing to do is to push themselves and to see how far they can take their fitness and their nutrition and optimizing and like how to just take good care of yourself. It's fun for them. And it's cool because that's fun for me too. So we're able to sort of like riff off of each other and be like, oh yeah, like what are you cooking this week? And you get ideas from each other. You can make stuff for each other. And it's just like surrounding yourself with people that are like-minded that I feel like makes it the norm to be taking good care of yourself. It's not like you're the outlier or you're like the one person who's health focused. It's all of you. It's like most of your friends. And so it's like actually the opposite. If you're really spiraling and not doing well, people around you are going to be like, are you okay? Like, this isn't you. Whereas I find that some friend groups are the opposite, where they're kind of like, not maybe engaging in the best behaviors when they're together. And like, sure, we have our friends that are like that too. And there's a time and a place for that. But I find that just gravitating toward people who are like-minded in terms of health and fitness has been a really awesome thing for me over the years.
I think to your point again is making it the norm, right? So then it doesn't feel like work because everybody's doing it. I have a wonderful group of friends here, and same thing, they all really look after themselves. They're all very, very interested and focused and committed to their health and their wellness. And it doesn't mean that they all are insane athletes and are doing, ultra marathons or triathlons like some of my other friends, but just looking after each other. And maybe looking after their mental wellness, and maybe that they love to cook. And we all kind of slot in, so it becomes a lot more commonplace to take care of yourself too, because that's just what everybody around you is doing.
Yeah, 100%.
I think it varies a lot depending on where you live too. Like I have to remind myself sometimes that we live in a bubble in the Bay Area. And
we do.
It's kind of like if you drive down the street or walk down the street or whatever of San Francisco on a Saturday morning, there's like so many people out being active, like insane amounts of runners and cyclists and like people swimming in the bay and people surfing in the ocean. And there's like so much movement going on. It is kind of the norm in the Bay Area to be focused on health, sometimes maybe a little bit too much even. Whereas I think in other parts of the country, it might be a little bit more difficult to build a community like that. So you have to be a little bit more intentional.
I personally find it actually harder here because I find people are a little bit more competitive versus in Toronto. I found that like so similar, a lot of fitness culture. So a lot of like I had like a core cycling crew there. I had my triathlon crew. I had my swimming crew. I had my CrossFit crew. I had a lot of different crews that I was like part of. And I found that community. And then I found here people were a little bit more competitive, but that was just my take on it. But I do agree that like it does depend. I find like bigger cities in general, and it's like finding the people in like that kind of like realm. Because outdoor activities here, and then like maybe more northern, colder areas, like having it be more like indoor classes and things like that.
I do agree with you, Alicia. For me, it may sound strange, or for anybody listening, you think, oh, well, you guys know a lot about nutrition, or you guys are trainers or have done all these different kind of things. So it should come naturally and we should never be nervous. But I'm an incredibly self-conscious person, and I get really, really nervous to try new things. And I also experience that, like trying some of the new things, like when you are not already good at it, I feel a little more intimidated. And I feel like sometimes in my experience, trying certain things hasn't been as welcoming of an experience as, I had hoped. And I didn't feel as embraced, or I had to be really, really brave, and I didn't make any friends, or I didn't get to like connect with anybody, and I felt more intimidated when I left. But point being there is you just try again, right? Yeah. You go back, you do it again, you remember why you're doing it. Consistency is key. And if it's not for you, you dust yourself off, try something else.
Mm-hmm. And just like circling back to like what we were talking about earlier with the running stuff for you, Summer, like I find for some people, if we're trying to force ourselves into something that just isn't working for us, we're not going to stay consistent. We're not going to stay on track. Like I remember a time in a place that I was trying to do dance classes because I was like, I need to be more cool. I need to learn how to dance. Like I used to do dance when I was a little kid. I was like, did ballet for 2 years, did jazz for like 5 years. And as an adult, I tried to put myself in that environment and it just wasn't working. And like, if you're trying it and you're not showing up because you're not enjoying it, like, yes, there is trying new things to keep yourself active, but then it's also like recognizing that like, hey, you know what? Stick to what you know. Like I have many clients that they're like, I hate the gym environment. I feel very intimidated in the gym environment. That's not for me. Or like similarly, like, hey, I've tried to run and I keep trying to run and I'm just like, it doesn't work for my body. It's like, try something that does work for your body. Find something that feels good and you feel excited and motivated to do that. Whether that is like a different like class environment, whether that's like an outdoor sport, whether that's like finding a walking group. And like I know there's a lot of really fun walking groups all over North America, which even there's like meetups in Europe that you can go do like walking trails together with just random strangers. Like we're in a day and age that's where it can be so connected that you just have to find what works for you.
Mm-hmm. And that actually is something I wrote on my list, is not beating myself up if something doesn't go my way. So, it's really easy to say and commit at the beginning, like I'm going to do everything right. My nutrition's going to be on point. I'm resetting starting tomorrow. And then something happens. Your kids get sick or they have a sporting event. You have a birthday party. You go out of town on vacation. The in-laws come. Or maybe it's a fitness goal. You get injured like myself, or you realize you don't love it as much as you want to, or it's just not working for you. The best thing I can say for that, because that's happened so much to me over the last 10 years since retiring, is finding my niche and finding my passion for fitness. But just dusting myself off and doing it again, but also not sinking into that all or nothing mindset. And we talked about that on a previous episode a few times, actually, but really not letting it totally get me down, not letting that failure, quote unquote, define me, because it's not a failure. You just have to try something else. You pivot, you get back on the horse. So with food, I try not to rely on weighing myself off all the time. I used to bring a scale with me when I traveled to perform. Not healthy. And everything was reliant on my scale weight. But I realized that's not realistic. And so instead of doing that, I try and just stay consistent with my breakfast and lunch. That's a non-negotiable, is when I'm at home and I'm working, because I work out of the house most of the time, my breakfast and my lunch is on point as much as I can. And then that way it gives me a little buffer for dinner. If I'm going to be doing something social or whatever, I have a glass of wine with some friends. I haven't totally ruined the day, again, using a lot of air quotes, but just staying with the consistency of those couple meals a day, or doing the best with what you got and what you can have as a win. So same in fitness. If it didn't work for me with the running, I'm going to try again. I totally already pivoted. I have a whole new plan of action where I'm getting back into the strength training. I like that a whole lot more. And it's going to work for me a lot better and with my schedule.
That's the number one thing on my list. The first thing that I put was pretty much that, but it's phrased a little bit differently.
And maybe a little more concisely.
Maybe slightly. But pretty much like being okay with it being messy. I think that that's where a lot of people struggle. We have these beautiful, perfect, well thought out plans. They're structured, they're linear, they're awesome. They progress at a certain rate, whatever else. The idea is that it's never going to be perfect like you planned it to be. That would be insane. So because of that, we need to be okay with it being messy. We need to anticipate that life is going to happen, and we need to plan for the things that we can't plan for, right? So, like, if the kids get sick, if something happens and I don't know, your schedule gets thrown off, or a random example, I had like this wonderful plan that I was going to make this meal for my in-laws. And everything was so well orchestrated. I don't know if I told you guys about this before.
No.
So I had like this meatball recipe that I was going to make, and I was going to like do this salad, and I did dessert and everything. So I did the salad, I got the dessert ready to go. Everything was running smoothly, but the meatball recipe is one that you have to cook all day long. So you like simmer the sauce all day, you simmer the meatballs in the sauce. And so I like had the sauce and it was ready, and I was simmering it and stuff, and everything was lining up beautifully. And I went to make the meatballs, and the pork smelled rank.
No.
And I had like no time to redo this recipe. It was like an all day endeavor. And so I'm like working with these meatballs. I'm like asking my husband, like, do these smell bad to you? Like, they smell bad to me. He's like, they smell fine. And I got into them and I was like, these are clearly bad. So anyway, an example of catastrophe, right? But we pivoted. We figured it out. I did a different recipe. We made it happen. We didn't give up. We didn't roll over. This is just like one example of one small day, but that's how it is. It can be just one day that throws you off, that makes you feel like nothing goes your way and you feel like it's all worthless and I shouldn't even bother. Life happens. Sometimes the pork is bad and you have to like just pivot and keep moving forward. And that's going to look different depending on you and your life and your situation. I find that travel is one that really throws people off. That's one that I spend so much time helping clients to navigate that at this point, I feel like I've mastered it because I've like really, really thought about how to navigate travel. We should honestly probably have an episode all about how to navigate travel.
Hey, maybe we should do that like for next week, since we are all traveling together this weekend.
Yeah, that's actually not a bad idea.
I like it.
For me, like having non-negotiables in my day, like I know Summer, you kind of touched on this concept, but for me, I really hold this, especially because I do travel a lot. Like I go back and forth between Toronto and SF a lot, but I'm not in one place for very long. And so you get really good and you understand simple concepts of things you want to kind of like check off in your day to make you feel like, hey, you know what? I still did something for myself today and I still feel like my body feels good. I still feel like I'm like going the course without being perfect. So like, I know for me, drinking water. I know that sounds so silly, but like for me, if I don't drink water, I'm going to feel like garbage. My digestion's going to be horrible. My head's going to hurt. Like, it's just not going to go well. So like for me, water, that's a huge non-negotiable. Getting some form of movement. Like I know my mood, my energy, everything is going to like my aches and pains, like, but it doesn't have to be the perfect workout. Sometimes I have the workouts all planned out, but that movement could be, I'm going to go for a walk, or I'm going to do a few stretches, waiting to board the plane, or like between clients, whatever it is, it's having some form of movement. And then the third thing is like just eating regularly throughout the day. Doesn't have to be the perfect meal. You know what? In the perfect place, I have all the protein, I have all the vegetables, I have the starchy carbs. But you know what? Sometimes that eating regularly is like, hey, I need a pastry because I'm going to murder someone because I haven't eaten in too long. Or just give me an apple on the fly, which like it's whatever kind of sits and like just knowing that's like, hey, I got to eat regularly to keep my energy up and to put fuel into my body. Because it is like putting fuel into a car. If you let that tank run on empty, you're not going very far, very fast.
Summer, do you have a non-negotiable, like a staple in your daily routine that you feel like keeps you anchored?
Lately, to be honest, it's been breakfast. And so I've been doing, I'll have my coffee and I'll put collagen in there, and I'll also put my creatine in there as well. Mm-hmm. So I know no matter what, I'm getting about 16 grams of protein just with my drink. And then typically my breakfast is either Greek yogurt, like Siggy's Greek yogurt with berries. Sometimes I mix a half a scoop of protein powder in there. Otherwise, it could be protein oatmeal or something. So I try my best to start my day with a fair amount of protein, and that doesn't change that much. What about you?
I love that. I feel like the start to the day is so important. And I do something similar. I have a morning routine that I actually started doing during COVID because I found that with everything was so weird during COVID. And I was like, I feel like I need some structure here. And so I started focusing mostly on my morning routine as like, okay, a way to start my day, to have some structure, to feel productive, so that I just didn't feel like lost in the abyss of the day, because it was just weird times. But I always start my morning with coffee. That's like the reason I get out of bed in the morning is like my coffee. And I don't mess with it. I don't put any creatine. I don't put any collagen. Like it's just my coffee with my milk. We're good. And I sit on the couch and I sip my coffee and I journal every morning for a little bit and kind of set an intention for the day. And that's the most consistent thing about my like anchoring routine. And it sets the tone for the whole day. Cause I kind of think about like, okay, am I going to go to the gym first? Sometimes I'll do like, I like to tack different, I love habit stacking. So I'll like tack different habits on top of that. And it varies depending on what I'm focusing on. Sometimes I'll practice Italian in the morning. I'll do my like little Duolingo and practice Italian. Sometimes I'll read for a little bit if I'm reading a book. Sometimes I'll do it all. But the minimum, bare minimum is like, get up, have your coffee, journal for a little bit, set an intention for the day. And I think that that's really, really important for consistency. And all of us have similar but different routines in that sense. And I think that's something to pay attention to for everyone who's listening right now. If you don't have a dialed morning routine or some kind of daily anchor that you feel like helps you just execute your day in a way that feels good for you, think about what you can add into your day that could be a catalyst for a positive experience.
That's a great point. And with that anchor, that reminded me of something I have started doing in the last few weeks. Now that my kind of schedule is getting a little more dialed in, it's busy. I go from 3 different jobs, throughout the day. But the first thing that I do when I get to sit at my desk is I have a paper to-do list. Like I love a to-do list. I have to-do lists on my to-do list. And so I have it and I keep it on my notes app on my phone. But every morning I put pen to paper and I write down and I'll star or I'll highlight the things that have to get done no matter what. And then there's all the other stuff. And every single day I've been doing it, and it makes me feel so much more organized for my day and so ready and set up to execute what needs to get done. Because again, all of our lives are very chaotic for all different reasons. But especially when you do have multiple jobs and you're going through a lot of different things, it's hard to keep them all organized. Like, I don't know about you guys, but do you guys have different colors in your calendars, like on your online calendars?
Mm-hmm.
Like I have
100%.
about 10 different colors for my online calendar for all the different things that I have to do during the day. Mm-hmm. So that's really helpful.
Colors mean different things. And yeah, I like have associations. Like yellow is always a workout.
Mine's red.
Yeah, mine's red as well.
Ooh, red alert. That's intense.
Yeah.
I only use red for like things that I'm afraid I'm going to forget.
Oh, see, mine's like, this is a priority. Get it done.
Same.
Nice. I think I chose yellow because it's like a happy color.
Happy? Oh, that's nice. I like that.
Yeah.
I think I have to remind myself, don't give up your workout. Like that's one of my bad habits is I'm very, very quick to give up self-care when things are going tough. That's the first thing I give up will be, I don't have time. Guess I'm not working out. Instead of prioritizing that and letting something else give, which is not a good habit of my own that I am always trying to get better at.
That's so common. I feel like so many people I talk to are like, yeah, when things get tough, the first thing to fall off is my fitness or my nutrition or both.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that's your strategy right there. Like make it red, make it in your face. I also have a paper to-do list every day. I freaking love my to-do list. It's the best. I'll even put like timestamps on there sometimes if I'm feeling like really, and then I try to beat it because I'm like, okay, maybe I can get even more done. And like, it's like a race.
This is Tara's competitive side coming out right here.
I know. I'm like, I like try to beat my own times that I allocate for tasks. But it feels like you totally get that dopamine hit when you check off the box, especially when you check it off early. And it kind of makes it a game, like getting things done during your day instead of just like getting things done during your day,
For sure.
I like that. But also if I write it on the list, if I write, get your 6 mile run in or whatever it is, if I don't do that, I'm going to be so uncomfortable because I like to check the boxes off. I like to go down the list, and I will go do that run just so that I don't have to deal with not checking off the box. So that's like super effective for me.
I'll also put things that are easy to get done. So I have some wins, like do my laundry or make my bed. If I'm really having a tough day, I always make my bed, but it's like, I'll put something that of course I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Make
It
lunch.
gives you momentum.
Yeah. Because then I feel like I've gotten something done, and it propels me in the right direction.
Whereas I'm procrastinating on laundry all the time. I'd rather do 10 other things. So that's going to be a big win on my to-do list.
Oh, see, that's good. See, I do your laundry if you take out my trash.
We'll volunteer Reza for that because I don't do the trash. I make all the meals. I'm the chef in the household.
Nice.
That's fair. So another thing that I do, and I think it's really helpful, I talk to most of my clients when we're starting to work together, especially for nutrition, is planning ahead. So I know we've talked a lot about pivoting, but I think it's really important that we do our best to plan ahead. So making sure that you're going to the grocery store on the weekend or when you have time. For me, I plan ahead as much as I can to know that I have food in the fridge to make a few healthy meals, and I live by myself. So, I make sure to have meals that I can have as leftovers. And so I know that even if I don't have a specific recipe that I'm going to make, I have staples in my kitchen that I can make a stir fry, and that's going to last me 3 or 4 meals. Or it may be that I have a recipe that I want to try. So I know I have all the ingredients. I know what day I'm going to make it, but I set myself up for success. So I'm not going to the fridge and be like, oh no, I have no food. And now I'm going to just have Pop-Tarts, which not a bad thing. Sounds great.
Other strategies that we use to stay on track. So one that I'm like, was like, this might sound funny bringing this up because we're literally on a podcast, but I like to listen to podcasts that are encouraging and inspiring.
Me too.
I feel like it's, especially if you commute places, it's nice to just get like your daily dose of inspirational content, whether that's just educational stuff or stuff that's actually meant to be encouraging and inspiring for you. But there's a lot of really good podcasts out now that I find to be helpful, especially if you have a specific interest. I'm listening to lots of running podcasts all the time and fitness related podcasts and whatever else. And some that are just like inspiring in other ways. I don't know. I like the variety, but I feel like listening to podcasts, but also just filling your mind with content that is positive and going to kind of reinforce the goals that you have. Sometimes that's like listening to an audiobook or actually reading a physical book. Even I would say like watching TV, but that content, if it's health and fitness related, is probably horrific and terrible, and you shouldn't believe anything they say.
What? What do you mean, Tara?
The documentaries that are out there on nutrition are always like the most biased thing you've ever seen in your life, and it's sad.
Yeah,
agreed.
So don't use that as your inspiration. But I think that the kind of the point is like surround yourself with people who are like-minded, fill your mind with stuff that is going to help to educate and inspire you as well.
My last one that I have on my list is remember your why. Remember why you started. Remember why you decided you wanted to go on this journey in the first place. It may be, that you have a health issue and you want to get healthier for longevity. Maybe you have a fitness goal. Maybe that you want to play with your kids and you want to be around for them and show them a healthy parent and someone who has a good relationship with food. So for me, for nutrition, I want to be healthy so I feel good, so I am functioning to the best of my ability. Also, as we all know, I am in my perimenopausal age, so I'm really thinking of longevity as well. So I want to stay healthy so I can be around for a long time and be active and be vital and be vibrant. And all that is important. It's really important to me to stay healthy. In terms of fitness, same thing. I want to be strong. I've always been active. So I want to stay fit. I like to look fit. I like to feel strong. I like to be able to do cool things like climb trees or do pull-ups or do the splits. And that's really important to me. And it feels good. And also I want to be able to be fit and agile when I'm older, So those are really helpful reasons that help me to stay on track when things are hard. And also I want to inspire people. I really want to help people be healthy, whether that's in food, in nutrition, whether it's in fitness. So for me, remembering all these reasons why it's important for me to take care of myself helps me to stay on track.
I don't know if you guys have ever heard this quote, but I don't even know who heard it. I heard it in like this motivational speech that was on Spotify many years ago. And it's like, why do some people reach their goals no matter how large they are, and some fail no matter how small they are? And that's the reason why. The reason why they're on that path, the reason why they're on that journey that's pushing them forward and putting them towards their goals. And so I think that reason why is so crucial for so many of us. And I think a lot of us don't like, it's good to kind of like do some of that soul searching and kind of like think about what is pushing you onwards and what is that driving factor, whether it's you're a role model to clients or friends, or you have like nieces and nephews or like kids that you're trying to inspire, and whether it's for yourself, for whatever it may be. Like, I know for me, like a lot of my health and fitness journey has been like proving to myself that my health doesn't define who I am. With somebody who has like multiple autoimmunes, like I could definitely, like I've met people that have been in similar situations to me, and I can see how they can't even function, yet alone do what I do. And it's like, I don't know if it's fear, but it's like I want to prove to myself that I can do all these things and like prove that I am strong and prove that I am like capable. Yeah, that's kind of like my big like reason why. I know for other people, like it's going to be different, and you have to kind of do that soul searching.
I love that though. I love that because you do have a lot of challenges, and some people, many people, that may be too much, and they wouldn't be able to push through in that way. And that's also okay. But for you, it really is the driving force that keeps you pushing on and getting better and progressing. And that's amazing. And that does make you an inspiration.
Thank you. Thank you. I know, Tara, you had one more on your list that I also shared. When I saw it on your list, I was like, oh my God, that is what I do too, is having a coach.
Yeah. I feel like that is something that it's a privilege to be able to hire a coach. And of course, there's all different price points and stuff like that. And sometimes like some people are more expensive than others. And I think accessibility can be challenging with coaches and stuff too. But if you have the means and access to a coach, oh my gosh, it makes such a difference. I love having a coach, and it doesn't even take a ton of interaction and like hands-on work between me and my coach to keep me accountable. It's just knowing that I have one. Like, it's so incredibly helpful. And we'll check in, and I know that she's always there for me, and I know that she's like looking in on my workouts, similar to what we do with our nutrition clients, right? We meet with them periodically. Depending on the client, it's going to be different in terms of how many touch points they need. But on the back end, we're like always checking in on their food journals and messaging them here and there to check in and see how things are going and all of that. And I feel like for me, just having a coach who cares, someone who's invested in the fact that I'm pursuing my goals and I'm doing the things that I said I was going to do / she wants me to do, it's enormously powerful. So for me, I think that's just a big one that I really feel fortunate to have. And I didn't always have a coach, and I was very consistent without a coach, but I feel like it's just an added layer of accountability that makes me that much more dialed and helps me to get creative and pivot when things get tricky. Because I've worked with this coach through a pretty serious injury, and I didn't say like, oh, I guess I should stop meeting with my coach. It was like, okay, how are me and my coach going to navigate this injury so that this isn't a complete setback? We just pivot and focus on other things while I'm healing. And I can make sure that I'm like ready to go and like train again when it's good. So if you have a good experienced coach too, they can help you to figure out how to navigate the different things or the difficult things in life that will oftentimes throw people off and cause them to like stop training entirely or totally throw in the towel with their nutrition or say like, oh, I guess it's just not a good time for me right now. Like that's not the approach. The approach is let's navigate this. Let's make it work given the current circumstance. And that to me has been like really, really helpful. And that's what I try to help my clients with as well. Yeah, I love having a coach.
Yeah. I was going to say, like, I think a lot of times people think that a coach is for when things are going really well. But a lot of times having a coach or having a dietitian or having a trainer is for when things more so are not going well, when you're not able to execute the plan as you had it in place. There to brainstorm, there to navigate, there to pivot, there to help you find that sense of like what you're working towards and why you're working towards it. I know for myself, like, I feel like I spend a lot of time and energy, like helping other people, which I love what I do. Don't get me wrong. But sometimes when it comes to myself, I just have no energy left at the end of the day. I can't put two and two together to figure out what I should be doing. And a lot of times if it is me figuring out what I should be doing, I'm just going to be lazy and I'm just going to do whatever is the least resistance when I know I have specific goals and I need to push myself. And so having that external person to be like, hey, this is what you're going to do, and just kind of like turn off my brain and just do it, no questions asked, I feel like that just helps a lot. And I agree with you, Tara, that it's like, it's a privilege, but then it's like you see the benefit and you see how much more consistent you can be, how much like kind of embracing like, hey, it's a bumpy path, but to have that guiding person is really helpful.
It's 100% worth the investment.
That's great. It's really inspiring to me too, because I haven't had one most of my life. And for a very short time when I was in Sydney, I had for the first time my own personal trainer. Like I've been a personal trainer forever. And I've never had one because I couldn't really justify the expense. But let me tell you, I got so much stronger so fast. I loved it. I loved having someone I had to show up for. And I was really, really bummed when I ended up moving home back to the US. So I had to give that coach up. But it's definitely something that I can't wait to get back to. Having someone in your corner, someone who can back you and keep you accountable is invaluable.
There was one other thing that I feel like there's a million different tools that I have in my toolbox that help me to stay consistent and have helped me to stay consistent for so many years now. Being flexible is definitely at the top of the list. But the other thing is just picking goals, like a long-term goal, and then breaking it up into smaller pieces and having something specific that I'm working toward rather than like a really vague, I want to lose weight, or like, I want to get stronger, or I want to be good at running. Those goals are great, but how are you actually going to achieve that? Diving into the why behind it, like what's your motivation in actually pursuing this goal? But like, let's get more specific and let's put a time frame on it. I know everyone knows what SMART goals are. SMART goal is just like kind of annoyingly overused, but it's legit. Like we do kind of need to be thoughtful and strategic and actually break these goals apart so that we've got a specific target that we're aiming for. And the most beautiful thing about aiming for a specific target, especially if it's something that's marked with an end point, is that you get to celebrate at the end. And that encourages you to do more, to want to do more. For me, races have been that target that I like to work toward. And a racing plan or a training plan for a race is the perfect example of breaking a very big goal up, like a many months long goal, into smaller bite-sized pieces so that you can actually visualize the progress and see yourself getting better and better as you go. And then, of course, you do the race, you celebrate, it feels really good. And then you immediately sign up for another one because you have an addiction. But I think it doesn't have to be races. That just happens to be my thing. And I know, Alicia, you love doing that too. But there's other different types of goals that you can think about and strive for. And I mean, I know a lot of people will, with like yoga and stuff, will have a goal to like do a headstand or a handstand or something like that. That takes a long time. There's like a whole progression there. So coming up with something that's meaningful to you, something that sounds like a little bit scary, a little bit hard, a little bit like you're unsure if you are 100% sure you can do it. Those are the best goals.
Well, I feel like we shared a lot of awesome nuggets of information and insight with everybody today. And I hope that gives everybody like a really awesome behind the scenes kind of peek into our routines and gave you some new ideas, or at least kind of got you feeling a little bit less alone or dealing with the messy, imperfect, ever evolving process of staying on track. It's no one size fits all strategy. what works for one of us might look totally different for you, and that's okay. The real magic happens when you reflect, you experiment, you learn to pivot, and you give yourself permission to kind of like do some soul searching to figure out what works for you. Whether it's tracking your food, planning out your day, having a to-do list, hiring a coach, whether it's joining a random group, building that social circle around you, having your tribe. It's finding that accountability person. What about just like committing to something small? Those little things can really add up and have a big impact. And especially if you're doing it consistently over time, you'll figure out what it is. And remember, it's progress over perfection, flexibility over rigidity, and curiosity over judgment. If you love this episode, be sure to share it with someone who might be needing that little bit of motivation right now, or is maybe struggling to stay consistent with their journey. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss a drop of a new episode. Until next time, keep fueling your body, honoring your goals, and finding what works for you.